Welcome everybody, and thanks so much for coming to join the webinar, and also for you all that are watching this remotely as the recording, then thanks for watching the recording. Today we're going to talk about some of the features which are within the advanced supply chain software package that we at IBIS provide. And we're going to talk mainly about managing complex pricing and some of the features that we've enabled within Dynamics AX that can really help you along the way. But before we start, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an introduction to what the advanced supply chain software is and where it really fits into organizations like yourself, and also organizations that have large distribution focus and also inventory management requirements. Now, at IBIS, we've created a number of different features that augment and extend out Dynamics AX, and we've broken them out into the advanced revenue management, and you'll see a lot of that today. That includes pricing and commissions and discounting. Then also advanced inventory management. We've added in capabilities for managing consignment inventory, vendor managed inventory, and also a couple of additional features. Advanced order management has been as a feature that we've extended out Dynamics AX, and that allows you to do, for example, customer reserves and a couple of other features. And then also we've added a number of KPIs and analytics through our advanced business intelligence. If you're interested in seeing all of the details, then we've highlighted a couple of these features here, where, for example, today we're going to talk about the advanced revenue management with the sales pricing and the order management and so forth. But as I said, with the advanced inventory management, that we've got counter sales, we have advanced credit checking, we have lost sales tracking, and so forth. And then within the advanced order management, we've got that consignment inventory, vendor managed inventory, obsolete inventory management, and so on. Additionally, if there's a number of additional KPIs that we've added to the system through our advanced business intelligence, and these all complement the features that we've added to Dynamics AX, so that anyone with complicated pricing or high volume order requirements can really get a lot more information out of the system. But today what we're going to talk about is really how one of the features within the advanced supply chain software suite that we have, and that's the revenue management, advanced revenue management, and specifically the pricing structures that you can take advantage of within the system. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a number of different features here. I'm going to swap between the PowerPoint and also the live system so that we can highlight some of these areas. And really the first area that we want to highlight is around order management. A lot of times, if you're a distributor, if you're a high volume order taker, if you have complicated pricing structures within the system, then order entry is really the key place that you're trying to manage and really where everything comes together. So I thought that would be a good place to start with this presentation. So I'm just going to swap off here, and what we're going to do is talk about this and then give you a little bit of an introduction as to how you can manage this and what the capabilities are. Now, I'm moving over here into Dynamics AX. I've got the order entry screen up and running here within the system. You may notice that it looks a little bit different from the standard screen because really this has been tailored, again, for high volume order entry. But the things that we really want to talk about today is when we get into order management and how we can manage our pricing and also manage the promotions and all of the information that's associated with the sales order here through the screen. Now, there's information that's popping up here which is standard, so we've got the margins and the margin alerts from the R3 release. But also, if you notice down here on the right-hand side, there's a number of new fact boxes and pieces of information that have been delivered to us. Now, we'll start here and we'll talk about some of the features. So, for example, some of the management that's included within the order entry is now information as to whether the customer is going to be eligible for a further discount within the system. So here this is telling me that I have some discounts configured here, and then this is saying that if the customer orders 1,000 items, then they'll actually get a 2% discount as opposed to the 1% that they've got here. So if I go in and change this and upsell the customer and order more product, then they're getting a higher discount. But we're also seeing now that if the customer will order 10,000 units, then they'll actually get 3% discount instead. So this is a tool for pricing and negotiation that is really at the customer level so that we can track, we can upsell, and we can also promote products to the customer. There's other information here. For example, if there's rebates associated with the product, then these are going to show up here in the system. We've got other details here. If I collapse all of these, then there's all of this price information that's also showing up here so that we can really empower the order entry people to see all the information that's associated with it. So just from the starting point, this is giving you a more powerful order entry screen and also showing you a lot more information when it comes to pricing. So the next area that we're going to talk about, though, is an extension which gives you a lot more capabilities when you're looking at the pricing. So a lot of the times when you look at a price list, there may be multiple prices that are associated with the sales order that the customer could be eligible for. There could be different structures, different discounts, different trade agreements that are built into the system as well. So what we can do is we can go and inquire on these and also see how these prices were built up, which will sort of introduce us a little bit into the pricing details of the system. So if I return back to my sales order, and there's a new function in here which is the calculated price details. What this does is this gives us a lot of information around the sales order line and also how this line was built up. So we can see the unit price that's popping up here and the discount percentage, but we want to see how is that arrived at. And we can see here that we have a line discount which is only applied to this customer, so Phillips 66, and that is from 1,000 to 10,000 units, and they're going to get a 2% discount. But also we see down here we've got a sales price. If I click on that, it's actually going to show us a little bit more information. And over here on the right-hand side, it's going out and showing us something that's different from the standard sales pricing, which is a price builder. And we'll show you how we build this up in a second. But as I move through, then we can see that it starts off with the cost amount, and then it adds $20 to this, it adds 5%, and then it rounds it to the nearest 95 cents. So rather than having just a flat price, then this price is calculated on the fly based on how I've set up the system. Now, if, for example, I click on the remaining, and if there are other sales programs that are associated with this customer, then that would actually show up here, and we could go and change those, and we could override the pricing. There's capabilities that you can go out and also tell the system, what price do I choose? So if you have competing prices, then you can have a strategy that maybe you want to give the customer the best price, or maybe you want to give yourself the best price, or some variation in between. So then when there's competition around the pricing, then the system would automatically give you the correct price or the most favorable price based on your settings. So this is just a way that we can go out and we can look at these price details. Now, the next area that we're going to talk about is there's some additional capabilities that have been added to the system. One is this idea of a master product group. And a master product group allows you to really create one pricing group or code that's going to manage all of the different pricing. So one of the things with Dynamics AX is sometimes it's a little bit too flexible because you have pricing groups, you have discount groups, and you have a number of different mechanisms that you can go and manage a customer or manage a product so that they get different price agreements and different trade agreements. But sometimes you want to have really just one group that manages them all. And that's where a product master group comes in. And it's a new structure that you'll see as I look at the products where I'm going out and classifying products, and also later on when I use the sales agreements, and you'll see that popping up as well. Before I return back to AX, I'll also talk about some of the other features that we can go out and we have different new costs that we can track against a product. And one of them is a market cost. So we may have a sales price, but maybe we've got a MSRP that's associated with the product, or maybe we just have a cost that is the standard cost in the market that we want to track against the system. So this is one additional mechanism that we can track costs, and we do that against the released product. As a side note, you can also go out and track an average landed cost through the landed cost module that is part of the advanced supply chain software as well. And what that will do is that's going to have the cost data associated with it. It's going to go out and calculate that for you, and it's going to be a cost mechanism that we can maintain in the system. So we've got all of this information that we want to maintain, but now we want to go out and manage our pricing. So we want to go out and really do some more clever things with our pricing and be a little bit more flexible. So this is where there's been a lot of additions to Dynamics AX through the advanced supply chain software. You'll notice that here within the screenshot that you're seeing, that it looks a little bit different from the standard one, but we'll see this in action right now. So I'm going to swap back over to my virtual machine and close this down. And let's see how the pricing is managed within the system. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open up the pricing, and I'm going to look at all of my price lists I've got set up in the system. So I've got a couple of these configured, and you can still go out and use the standard pricing. You can still go out and create the multi-level tiered pricing. You can also go out and have the regional pricing. So none of the standard pricing mechanisms disappear. But what we can do is we can do this. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to just create a new price list here. And I'm just going to go into the lines and start maintaining it. So we've got, there's a couple of new features here that we'll talk about as we move through. And one thing that you'll notice is that you've got this area at the top, which is just your standard trade agreement or price agreement or discount agreement. But down here, we've got this area for building up a price. So what we can do is we can go out and now create a price, but we've got some more options that we've got. So in addition to having the multi-line discount and the line discounts and the pricing around sales and purchasing, there's some other areas down here where we've got a benchmark price, we've got an MSRP price. We also have some custom prices that we can set up in the system. Now, if I just choose a sales price, then there's a new cost type here that's built into the system. Now, this is what this does, is this goes out and tells the system that I want to start building up a price rather than sort of just specifying a price. And I can use different cost measurements that I've tracked against my product. So notice here I've got the last purchase price, I've got the landed cost, I've got the market cost, I've got the sales price. If I didn't type in anything here, then I could just go out and I could move all the way over to the side and say that this is $12.54. And what that's going to do is whenever I go out and create my trade agreement for example, 141, product, then it's going to go out and that's going to be the standard price. Nothing has really changed here. Now, if we wanted to get a little bit more granular, then you'll notice that there's also some more categories that we can tier the prices. So, for example, rather than just having pricing that's based on amount or based on dollar value, we can also have, or dollar value here, we can have pricing based on the quantity and based on the weight. We can also specify the dates here within the system. And that's going to allow us to have a lot more flexibility in our pricing. So, for example, we could have bracket pricing later on, which is weight-based. So as we get closer to 44,000 pounds, then maybe we're going to give a discount for a full truckload. Now, but if I go out here and tell the system that I want to go out and maybe use a standard cost as my cost type, then something happens and this area down the bottom becomes enabled. So this gives us more allows us to build up a price, and this is where it gives us a lot more flexibility in the system. Now, so if I want to change this, so I'm just going to apply this to all customers. Let me choose a different product here. So what this is, let me go down to here and try this. So what I've done is I've told the system that I'm going to build up a price for this product based on the sales price that's associated with the product. Now, since I chose this cost type of sales price, then it's automatically going to fill in this currency, but I can't change that. So this is now just a fixed amount, or it's a calculated amount based on what I've got here. So as a user, I can go out and I could start building up a formula that says I want to calculate a price, and I want to have some adders, I want to have some subtractors, I want to then round within the system. So I added in a line here, which is the line amount, and it's pulling in the $136.02 as the standard price. Now, say for example, I want to tell the system that maybe I want to add a fuel surcharge, or maybe I want to modify this or subtract some amount or divide it so that we can have a discount associated with it. Then I can choose a different function here. Also, what I can do is I can change this value type to be an amount or a percentage. So in the case of maybe a fuel surcharge, maybe I'm adding just $10 onto this line item per unit. So I could just say here, I want to add $10. And we'll notice over here that the calculated price is changing. I can also add reason codes here if I want to. And there's an option here that I could go out and I could make this, if for example this was a percentage, then I could tell it to go and add maybe X percent onto the first line if I want to, from the first line, so that the percentage that gets added on is a before any discounts or any adjustments are made to it. Now, if for example I wanted to give the customer or charge the customer an extra amount or a percent, then I could just add this on. So I'm going to go out and add 5%. But say, for example, if I wanted to make this a discount, then I could subtract 5% or I could subtract 20% as a standard amount for this customer. Now, the other item that we can do here is I can tell the system that maybe I want to have some smart rounding here so that everything looks tidy. Then maybe I want to go out and round to the nearest 95 cent. So what this is doing is I'm using the standard smart rounding feature, which is based in Dynamics AX, but I'm building up this price so that now we have all of our costs being built up so that then I can see all the line amounts. So all of this is, let's see, did I add that? Let me try it. So all of these build up to our price, and then also we can have the to and from date that's associated with it. Now, there's other items that you can do here. So a lot of the times where you're going out and having a number of products that are similar, you don't want to go out and set this up by product, because if you've got thousands of products or tens of thousands of products, then that's a lot of information and also a lot of time that you'd need to manage to set this up. So what you can do is you could create another version of this. This could be a sales price, and again, I could use the sales price here within the system. It would apply to all customers. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and associate this with a group. And I can create a master product group here. And then what I can do is I can go out and I can add this line. So I could have the cost, and then I could add a percentage, so I could mark this up by 15%. And then maybe I can have smart rounding associated with it. Something that you'll notice here, though, is that no prices are calculating on here on the fly, because I haven't got a specific product that's associated with this one line. This is a product group. When I go out and calculate my prices at order entry, then it's automatically going to build up this price for me for the product group or for the master product group, and then give me that price. And then when I go to the price detail screen, then it's going to show me that detail and show me how I've built up these items. So again, number of different options. Something else that you can do as we go out and set this up is I can go out and maybe I have this associated with a particular customer. Then the customer can also have a ship-to address that's associated with it. So I can have specific pricing by ship-to rather than just by account. So if there's certain geographic areas that I'm maintaining, then we can track that here within the system. So all of these are just different options that are available to us. So as I'm going through and sort of managing this, then I can go out and I can build these up, and then as you can see, we can go out and create a number of different pricing structures here. So if I look at some of the other information that I've got here, then I've got tiered pricing that I've configured here, which goes out and has multiple levels of pricing, and that's pretty straightforward to do. I can also have bracket pricing, so I've got a revised version here. And what this is doing is this is going out and giving me pricing by product group. So the product groups allow me to go out and if I get over 10,000 units for any of these items that are in this product group, then it's automatically going to accumulate it up for me within the system. Now, something else that you can do is you can go out and create price lists. So let's return back to here, that are used within price lists. So what that means is I could go out and create a benchmark price, and that could be a standard price list that I've configured for a certain time frame against for a certain set of products or items in the price list. And that benchmark could be based off a landed cost or a standard cost in the system. But then we can go and tell the system that I want to create another price list that goes out and is maybe an agreed upon price for that customer if this was a commodity, that says that I'm going to give the customer 10% off the benchmark retail by going and choosing the benchmark retail item here from the cost type. And then we can layer these on top of each other and on top of each other to get even more complicated pricing. So that means that you don't need to go out and have multiple versions of price lists that are just copies of each other by customer and then have to modify those and change those over and over again. The system will go back and look at the benchmark or sort of list commodity list price that we've got set up in the system. So these are all capabilities that you can maintain, and there's a lot more flexibility that you have here within the pricing to go out and tweak this information. So I'm going to just back out of here, delete this. So all of these, the sales price management capabilities, give you a lot more flexibility in how we go out and maintain these prices. Now, in addition, we can go out, we're not going to talk about the discounts very much at this point, but you can go out and create multi-line discounts. You could have bracket discounts, as I was showing you before. You can have BOGOs and promotional items and giveaways directly here within the Advanced Supply Chain Pricing and Discounting module. And it's just another journal type or a journal line that we've got in the system. Now, there's something else that we can maintain that I'm going to highlight here is also the sales program and deal management features that we've got in the system. Now, what we can do is we can go out and we can create sales programs, and also we can use the pricing workbench that I'm going to show you in a second to go and test your pricing and sort of run through scenarios and manage it directly here within a pricing workbench. And also it allows you to link promotions together, not only from the sales side, but also back to the purchasing side. One of the things that distributors struggle with is the pass-through pricing, where you can go out and you can have a vendor give you an agreed-upon rebate or a discount for if you sell a product at a certain amount. And you can go out and create sales agreements that promote that product and sell it to the customer. But there's no link between those two so that you can reconcile that information. The sales agreements and the sales programs give you that capability, and you can really bring all of the promotions together into one group. And then also that allows you to go out and use the sales pricing workbench to go and model pricing and see really what the true cost of an item is and what all of the chargebacks and the discounts are that's associated with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly look at those and show you how those work. So I'm going to back out of here and go out of the pricing list that we have. And what we have is we have this capability here to manage the sales programs. And I've got a couple of programs broken out here, and these sales programs could be date specific, they could be only associated with certain customers, and also they don't have to be live at any point. You can go out and sort of set them up and run them as you need. Now this is really the glue that links all of the prices together, because what we can do is we can go out and create a program, and we can link these to a master product group, which gives us an easier way to manage all of our trade agreements and the rebates and everything else that's associated with this. And then we have, below this, we have all of the different agreements that are in place for this promotion. So again, if you have vendor rebates, if you have vendor agreements that then flow through to trade agreements for the customer, then you can go and maintain these. In this case, I just have a trade agreement where I've got a sales price for all of my pipe product, and I just have a fixed price associated with it. Now, as I move down, I can also track commissions. So something that we'll briefly talk about is the commission structures and how we've extended those out. But we'll also hold off on talking about that a little bit because we've got a completely separate webinar that we're doing later on next month that will focus just on the commissions. But it's, again, linking all of this information together and linking the SPAs and linking the chargebacks and also linking back to programs within the system. If, for example, I wanted to go out and use this as a workbench, then I can tell the system that maybe I want to go out and create a new sales program. And I can just create a promotion. I can say, what is this assigned to? So this could be by group or by selected group. I can go out and choose individual items, or, as I mentioned before, I can go out and link this to a certain master product group. Something that's interesting here is also we can go out and have multiple groups that are associated to this. So even though, rather than create a sales program just for one master product group, then I could create that for all of the master product groups as well. So I could create the pipe, and then also I'm going to say that this is going to be based off the standard price, and this can be from October 1st to the end of October. And then I can say that this is a list price. As I'm building up my prices, even though I could go out and I could create trade agreements at any point sort of separately, I can go out and I can build up these prices here by just adding the trade agreement or building up my rebate or assigning a chargeback or a funding agreement here. And it's going to, again, give me a workbench that is just defined for sales. Now, once I've created these rebate agreements and the trade agreements and sort of linked everything together, then I can validate these and I can activate these. And then, again, from this one screen, these are going to now start rolling out to sales. Now, if I close this down, there's something else I can do here where I can go out and I can start modeling all of these sales agreements. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go and tell it that I want to see what the impact of all of my agreements are. So I'm going to go out and find some prices here, and I'm going to tell the system that I want to look in a certain period and look at all of the pricing agreements that are associated with this group. So I can see here that I've got a couple of different pricing agreements. It's going out and showing me the sales price and the discount rebates and chargebacks. So what it's doing is it's giving me really my waterfall pricing model here, where I can go out and I can work out what the total cost per unit is. And also if I want to track the net per inventory unit, then I can do that as well. So even if the sales unit is different from my inventory unit, then it's going to track that. It's also going to show me my margin and the margin that I'm making off this. Something that we can do also here is I could filter this out, so I could just look at the pending sales agreements, or I could see all the ones that are active. I could also go and look at the ones that are in review as well. If I want to update any of the information, I can do that directly from here. But a nifty feature here that we can take advantage of is the simulation option. Now what this is going to do is, a lot of the times we want to go out and test our pricing and see, does it work? Is it really giving us the results that we're really expecting? And you have to go out and create a sales order in order to do that. And that sort of clutters up the ordering. It steals a number of placeholders in your order numbering sequence. It's just not really the best thing to do. So what we can do here is I can go out and create a simulated sales order. And this works just like a normal sales order. So I'm going to go through and create my sales order, and I could go out and find my product. It's assigned me a sales order number, but this is a temporary number. So it's told me what the sales unit price is going to be. I could go into the financials and I can look at the calculated price and run through any discounts, and it's going to show me everything that built this up so that I can have proof as to how this price sort of popped into the system. And also it's going to show me margins. I can do anything that I can normally do within the sales order here through this view. It's going to show me all of the discount percentages. So I could go out and say that I want to order 150, or I want to order maybe 1,500. And my discounts are going to be adjusted, and any related information is going to be adjusted from here as well. But what happens is that when I close out of this, then that order is going to disappear. It's going to be taken off the books, and I can't really do anything with the simulated order. I can't even ship it out or confirm it. So I've gone out and looked at my pricing agreements that I've got here. I've gone out and sort of tested it through the simulation option, and it's calculated that for me. There's other areas here where I can go out and can track the actual transactions that are associated with the sales program and a number of other things as well. Just as a side note, if I'm going through and maybe I want to use this as my mechanism for creating all of my sales programs, then I can create new sales programs directly from here within the pricing workbench and really use it as a one-stop shop for all of my pricing management. So as a chief pricing officer or a price management person within the organization, then you don't have to jump around and you don't have to sort of move from one system to another or one area of the system to another. It's all managed here through the workbench. So I'm going to sort of move on and talk about just a couple of other things along the way, and one especially is the commission management. Now, we're not going to go into a lot of detail on this because, as I mentioned, we've got a follow-up presentation where we're going to be focusing just on the commission management and how we maintain these. But within Advanced Supply Chain Software, we've extended out the commissions to allow you to have different calculation modes. So you could calculate the commission based on received amount, based on full payment, based on the net amount or the ordered amount. We can also have the commission based off the amount less discounts. We could have it based off the full amount. We can also get a lot more granular within the discounting structure by going out and having sales groups or teams of salespeople that go out and get assigned different discounts based on different levels. With the Advanced Supply Chain Software, we can also calculate the discounts, the commissions, or accrue the commissions at time of invoice, or start tracking it as the orders are confirmed within the system. So there's a lot of different things we can do there. The final feature, in addition to everything that we've shown here within the system, there's some other features. So, for example, we've extended out the rebates. The rebates allow us to create special price agreements that link the vendor rebate agreements over to the customers so that we can track all of these. We also have chargeback management built into Dynamics AX. That extends the functionality now that's in the R3 release to add additional capabilities as well. Now, and then also we want to track any cost deviations. So if we have rebates from the vendors and we want to track how much money we're getting from the vendor based on how much we're supposed to be receiving from the vendor, then all of this is handled through Advanced Supply Chain Software. So we've shown a number of different things here within the system. The main points that I was trying to show today was really the pricing, the mechanisms for the pricings, the additional features that have been added to the trade agreements that allow us to build up the price, that also allow us to use multiple cost mechanisms to go out and just make your price list a little bit easier rather than having multiple copies of the same price list just for different products or different variations of products. So hopefully this was interesting for you all, and it gives you an idea of what we've done in the system.